Welcome to Broken Silence. I'm Sanyya, Gardez. South Asian weddings have always been pretty spectacular events. However, in the last 10 years, they've gone from saying simple I do's followed by tea and samosa to all-out Bollywood-style productions. Joining me on today's show are wedding industry professionals who create magic for the couple on their special day. And taking center stage now is Kay Slanky from Jush Events and Hemang Bhatt, who's a Hindu priest. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kay, let's start with you. Can you just tell us how weddings have changed how many years have you been doing Jush
We've been
Events?
established for 13 years now.
So how have they changed since when you first got started?
In the early days, it was a simple case of we want to host a wedding and we want you to turn up at this event. It was a two-meeting affair. You know, we want catering doing, we want decorations doing. What do you guys do? They look through a portfolio and we sort it out in 2 meetings. I mean, now I probably spend about anything between 8 to 15, 20 meetings with each client.
Is it more led by the bride and groom, or are parents taking an active role as well?
Earlier we used to deal with the parents more. We deal with the bride and groom predominantly now. The parents come in maybe meeting number 10, number 11 right at the end of the day just to make sure.
That's strange, right? I mean, because I guess a few years ago that wasn't the norm. Parents were making all the decisions, finding the caterer, the venue, deciding everything down to the last detail. And now I guess the younger couples are making more active decision making.
Yeah, I mean, the initial inquiries all come in from the younger couples because they know exactly what it is that they're looking for. They have a definite end in mind, whereas the parents, they're based when they're booking services, they're basing judgment on what they've seen previously, and what other people have told them. Whereas you know, the youngsters they're exposed to a lot more, you know, the media, the magazines. They've been to more glamorous events.
What's the average couple, average price a couple is now spending on their wedding day?
An average cost, it all depends on the number of guests clients are having, how many events they're having, but £100,000 isn't unheard of now.
£100,000. So the price of a house people are spending on their wedding day.
Yes.
Hemang Bhai, what do you think about these extravagant, lavish weddings? Do you think that they somehow take away from the spiritual aspect of getting married?
Indeed, because what happens is that sometimes when you put more pressure on the designing factor and getting more people involved into arranging and so on, you sometimes dilute the attention from what marriage is really about. It's about two people who join in a spiritual bond together for life. And therefore, what happens is that the understanding of Lagna, the wedding ceremony, is given little precedence compared to what it used to be given in earlier times. And more is given to the fashion, oh, I saw this over there, so I should have it in my wedding that way as well. And so the focus has shifted from where it should be. And therefore, we also lose the perspective of follow-up in lives as well.
Now, Kay, do you think that, I mean, do you agree with Hemang Bhai that has shifted, that people are now just concentrating on their reception, their wedding favors, their ice sculptures, not so much on their vows?
Yeah, definitely, because what tends to happen now is that when I'm planning a person's event, they tend to say to me, we want the wedding finished within an hour, hour and a half.
That's right.
Really, talking about Hindu weddings, a full ceremony is going to be about 2.5 hours realistically. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Indeed.
And we've been asked to shorten that so that they've got more time for the party side of things. They've got more time to go back to the hotels and have a break, and get time, you know, enough time for the brides to get ready again, and you know, time for the rooms to be turned around so they look more glamorous for the evenings.
Exactly. What we're talking about, you know, the theme of today's show is lavish weddings and how much money we're spending on getting married. You're saying £100,000 is not unheard of.
True.
What kind of extravagant requests are couples coming in with?
I've been asked to sort out helicopters for bride and groom arrivals. Elephant, I've been asked for an elephant. In the UK, it's very difficult to do things like that. I've been asked to see if we can host a wedding on the sea. You know, organise a platform on the sea.
Oh my God!
Water,
okay, like not on a yacht, but just a platform on the sea.
Just for the vows to happen on water. I've been asked for that request. It can be in all sorts of, you know, things, weird and wonderful things that are asked for. You know, food, the way food is served and presented. It's not. It's people saying, "Well, I don't just want it to the tables in the middle of a karai stand. Karai stand's too much of a normal thing now. What are the novel ideas?"
What's going to be the limit? I mean, every year we're outdoing what we did the previous year. Apparently, it's been estimated that every year the wedding industry is growing by 25%, and we're spending more every single year. Is there going to be a limit to what we're going to spend, or they're just going to become? Is just that aspect of it, just the big Bollywood-style wedding? Is that just going to take over? Or has it already, to a certain extent, taken over?
I think, in my experience, one of the things I'd like to say is that I've now starting to encounter couples who want to take it back, actually. Saying we want to simplify things. We don't want the 600, 700 people at this wedding. We want to do an event for 50 people where the cost per head may stay the same, but the lavishness of the event will become greater. So they can have a really lavish event for less people. But
see, now we were talking about this very thing before the show, and we were saying, that a lot of people now that weddings have become so extravagant, so over the top, that now a lot of couples are saying, you know what, we don't want 1,000 people at our wedding. We'll just invite 300 of our closest friends and family and have a quiet, intimate dinner. The price is still pretty much the same because still, the quality of the food and the venue and favors and stuff. So I think my point is that we're still spending quite a bit on weddings. We might just have it on a smaller scale. The wedding is just as expensive. Are we then making it harder for people who can't afford to have these weddings to get their children married?
It is always a case because money is an underlying factor behind all of this. Everything that you add into a wedding or onto your dream wedding costs. And then what happens is that you do impulse buying as well. So say, for example, when you go to a photographer and see a package, he will not just show you one package, he will show you different packages.
I'm glad you mentioned that because we do have several photographers on our show today who will let them
and then you know what will happen. The bride will go for the one she feels very happy with, and
obviously
of course
that'll be the most expensive one, of course.
And that's the point, that they are giving their services, no doubt. But it's upon the people who choose what they choose. And now it's upon them to make sure that they put it in the right perspective.
See, I do agree with you. I mean, I don't think, Kay, I'm not in any way suggesting, or to anybody else in the industry suggesting that it's the people that are in the industry that are creating this kind of demand for the service. It's actually, there's a need, and you guys are providing a service. However, before the show, when we were just talking about the subject matter, we were saying that every girl, when she's little, when she grows up, she envisions her wedding day to be like a Cinderella story, this fairy tale. Should we not be telling our daughters that are really small and really impressionable to take the focus on the wedding day and concentrate more on the marriage itself? With more and more couples falling apart, obviously the emphasis is on the wrong thing.
Yes, because my Guruji tells me that before wedding you should learn what it is all about. And this comes from the parents and preferably from the spiritual places they go to and learn from. That marriage is not just about you two living together, cohabiting. It's more about spirituality between you both, the chemistry between you both, so that once you are married, it's not the end of the dream wedding.
Right. It's just the beginning of your...
Yes, you are now starting off. And that's where you have to start on work on it, rather than just think that I've had a beautiful day today and that's the end of it. Now we are going on to honeymoon and everything will be perfect in life.